Next caller is coming in from 205. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hello, Mike. How you doing? This is Jose from Champions Landscaping out of Alabama here in Birmingham. I just had a question I had a couple of questions. We did 700K this year, and we're shooting for profit mode 2025 at 750. And I want to get a GM in place. Would you recommend just one GM? Do you think it's something that one GM can handle and go to 2026, get a GM in place? Would you recommend, do you think 1 million is something that a GM can handle, or do you think I need to be looking at office person and the GM?
Yeah, so if you look at sales, operations, and admin as the three functions of the business, if you're going to hand this business off and you're not going to be involved, you're going to need an admin person and a GM role at that 750,000 level. I really like that level because the GM can handle operations and sales typically. As soon as you start pushing that million marker, I consistently see you needing another person for just sales, and an operation role has to be split. So I'm a big fan of taking what you currently have, staying in profit mode, hiring a full-time office person, and then a general manager. That general manager is responsible for everything that doesn't have to do with admin. So all operations, all sales. Now, the question I always lead to, though, is like, what's your role going to be in the business?
So I wanted to just keep it as a passive sort of income, and just keep it as passive sort of income, and want to get into real estate and other business ventures.
Yeah, so you throw this thing into profit mode, just like throw this thing into profit mode, raise your prices, do not buy more trucks, do not buy more equipment, keep your crew size under 8 so that general manager can actually effectively manage them. If you start needing 10, 12 people to make that 800,000, it's going to drive that GM, the level of competency for that GM has to go dramatically up because it's difficult to manage that number of people. And if someone's listening to this right now, they're like, well, I'm an owner and I have 15 employees. Yeah, you're the owner. Once you hand this off to a general manager, I consistently see if they have more than 8 people in the field, and there's plenty of studies to say that 6 to 8 people is how much someone can effectively manage. If you start having to need 10, 12, 15 people out in the field, the one general manager alone usually cannot handle it. And so if you're going to, try to make this passive, my current situation would be like admin person full-time, general manager over everything. I'm trying to get where no more than 8 people are needed in the field, which usually means you're gonna have to raise prices or to hit that marker. And that's usually where a $700,000 to $800,000 business is perfect, in my opinion, to make that model work. Next caller, it looks like they're a local to me. 360, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Oh, it looks like you called already today. How's it going?
Hey, my name is Fernando. I appreciate you taking my call. I work as a mobile mechanic, so I just have a few questions. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My first question is, I currently make about 7,000 to 10,000 in revenue as a single operator. Mm-hmm. And my two questions are, I want to grow my business as close as I can to 100,000. So I'm thinking about renting out an office space so I can have a Google location address. So when customers search up a mechanic, I can show up on Google Maps, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And my second question would be, how can I increase my prices to be competitive, but not as expensive as shops?
Yeah, totally. So first question in terms of getting an address on Google, I do recommend doing whatever you can to get an actual address so that on the maps it shows you in your local area. Highly recommend. So I would not go spend $1,500 or $2,000 a month on rent just to get that. But if you can sublease from someone, if you can split a shop space or an office with someone to get a physical address, it does pay dividends. In terms of how do you separate yourself and a bit more price competitive, I just make it like your marketing message needs to be, I would suggest focusing on the difference between you and a shop. Because the benefits from a cost perspective as well as from a customer service perspective, why they would choose you over a shop. And I would just emphasize everything on that. And I would just address the pain point of are you tired of getting 2 to 300% markup on your parts? Are you tired of waiting a week or 2 weeks? Are you tired of having to tow your vehicles to the shop? Address those pain points is really what I would be focused on, on your website, because that's really why someone would choose you over a local shop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, that makes sense. And one last question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So when it comes to the office space, I was kind of debating on getting something that's like those virtual offices. I'm not sure if you heard of them, where you just pay like $99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Like something like that. Would that be more beneficial than having to spend, like you mentioned, go on 50/50 at an actual shop location?
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. Most of the time you can get into a Regis or other, co-working space, get a real address and that make that your office. I've seen sometimes they get declined on Google and it takes a little more re-verification. So I've seen it work and seen it not, but it's definitely a better bet spending $100 a month than going out and spending $1,500 to get an address. Be very careful, I would say, about one thing, and that is making sure that address is in your service area. Because from a Google Maps perspective, you just won't show up if you're literally 30, 40, 50 minutes drive outside, or worse yet, a different city name or zip code. So whatever your city name or zip code is, I want that to match my address with my actual service area. Next caller is coming from 805. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good also. So I actually run a pool service company in California, and I watched your turnaround that you did with the co-crew pools over here. And I was seeing that a major problem that we have is that our prices are way too low for what we offer as far as chemicals and that stuff goes. I'm thinking about raising my prices $30 to $35, which I think is a big jump, but pretty much my question is, I'm stuck in the owner-operator mode right now, where I'm making 25% profit, but that's with me doing a lot of the work, a lot of the repairs. Do you think that price increase would allow me to hire an admin/route manager, or is $30, $35 too much of an increase and I'll end up losing way too many customers? I just kind of want to know, since you've worked with a lot of companies before and doing all this kinds of things.
Yeah. So first question is, what's your revenue in 2024?
Revenue is about 300,000.
Cool. Yeah. So you're in a tough spot. It's one of those spots where it's like you kind of need an admin, but you can't really afford it yet. Okay. And then my next question is, you said you're going to raise it by $35. What's the current price for that same treatment?
Right now we're at around $170 average.
Is that per hour or per customer per month?
That's per customer per month.
Got it. So you're basically going to try.
After our chemical costs, we're probably at like 20. No, we're probably like 40 an hour once we account for all our customers. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Which I think is low.
You're very low. So basically, we're trying to go from 170 to 210 or so, 205. Okay. Right now, so like 2024 was 300,000. What was 2023?
2023 was about the same. So we've been condensing our service route.
Okay.
We've just been focusing on more local customers. So we didn't do much of growth in revenue. We just kind of streamlined and got closer to where we have all our customers very close to us.
Got it. Yeah. So the challenging part is when you're not growing revenue, what that usually means, assuming you weren't cutting out customers like that, is you don't have enough lead flow to replace customers if you lost them. That's a bit of a concern, because usually if you grew last year by like 20, 30, 40%, now all of a sudden I know even if we raised prices and lost 10, 15% of customers, we will replace them within a matter of several months. And so what I would be thinking about first and foremost is, if you just raised your prices the way you want on a portion of customers, you'll get confidence before you raise it on everyone. So because right now you don't have a huge amount of leads pouring in that will replace these the customers that will leave, like the lowest paying ones. And so my concern is that we raise the price on everyone, we lose 30% of our customers, which I actually don't think would be a bad deal, because you're going to raise prices enough, you'd make more profit if that happened. However, cutting revenue by 30% would definitely set you back right now, because you have no leads to replace the ones that are leaving. So like right now, I would actually focus first on how do I get the lead flow higher. And so like your website, I'd be dialing all that in. So that way, instead of getting, let's call it 15 leads a month, I'm getting 30, I'm getting 40. Then I have way more confidence knowing that if I lose 20 or 30 customers during the price increase, I'll be able to get them all back within a matter of like a couple weeks. And so right now, do you have a great website? Has that really been dialed in terms of like the online side?
Yep. I followed all your tips. So as soon as people go to the website, they have a contact request form where they can put their number, address, and which way they want us to contact us, whether it's email, text, or a phone call. So I've done all that part, and I don't think I'm too afraid of not getting enough leads, because we actually have the problem of when peak season comes for us, we're not even able to get our phone calls because we're too busy taking care of the customers, which aren't even paying enough to begin with.
Got it.
So
I would raise
prices
prices
really
then. Yeah, I would raise prices then right as you're going into the busy season. And you could even stagger it so your number of customers don't change. Because if you know, okay, like as soon as we hit, let's just say March, April, May, we know we're getting all these leads that we usually don't service. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to raise 20% of my customers' prices every single week for 5 weeks. And by the end of those 5 weeks, you'll have a higher margin and you'll have lost your lowest margin customers, but they've been replaced as those 5 weeks went on with those incoming leads that in the past you never even could get to. And so you now take the business from 300,000 to 380,000 next year, but 80,000 of that straight profit. Because like unserviceable leads, they don't cost you anything, except especially if you're not like marketing. But what they do cost you is the extra demand that would otherwise be able to replace your lowest paying customers. And so that's why when people say like, I have so much work coming in, I just don't answer the phone, I don't get back to them. I think it's insanity, because what we should be doing is raising our prices and getting rid of customers enough to be able to take the incoming leads that are willing to pay the higher prices. So I think it's crazy when someone turns off their leads. If you turn off your leads, the business has structural problems. It has lack of systems, because ultimately, if you're raising prices and you're at capacity and you can't do any more work, you should raise prices immediately to cut customers out that are your lowest paying, massively improve your margins. Like by raising your prices, what you said, by, let's call it, it's about 22%. By raising your prices by 22%, you're going to double your profits. Double. And so literally if 30% of your customers left and you didn't replace them, you'd still be better off from a profit perspective. And so I am a huge proponent of, as you ramp up with leads, because you're at capacity. When you're at capacity, you raise prices, or you grow and expand and get more trucks and equipment. You're not growing trucks and equipment, and I know that because you're turning away the leads. And so you got to raise prices. You got to get rid of your lowest paying customers and then replace them with people who are willing to pay the price. And if you do that for 1 year, if you do that for even one season, to where now you're making 380 on the exact same customers that you had last year, same number of customers, now you have the profit margins to grow and expand. Next caller is coming in from 770. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. 770, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
How's it going, man?
Good,
hey, man, so this is Jesus. We're over here from Atlanta, Georgia. Man, I wanted to ask you a question, Mike. So practically, I wanted to talk about lead flow. I honestly don't have a lot of leads coming in from my business, and I wanted to ask you, if we are under 200K, how much would you recommend to put into marketing? Or I know right now I don't have a website. I know that's a priority, it's top on the list, but like, what do you recommend besides like door hangers and just recommending, I guess, more word of mouth from my clients that I have right now?
Yeah, so there's two things I'll be doing here. Number one is I don't spend any money on marketing until I have a great website. The reason is because it's compounding effect. My customer acquisition costs can be halved or even more just by having a great website, that when customers hear about me, there's something that actually will pull in the lead. Because like if I went into the market and was like, Coca-Cola's the best, Coca-Cola's the best, and I was like, okay, cool, we now believe Coca-Cola's the best, and then I didn't tell them where to go buy Coca-Cola, and there was no store for them to go buy Coca-Cola from, it would be a useless marketing campaign. And so what I recommend is focus on the store first, like build the distribution, i.e. the website that will then take in the incoming leads. Because if you give them a door hanger, yes, they might call you, but I know that more than half of our leads come directly from our website, and they never touch our phone. They never touch other mechanisms, Facebook or exact. They come right from the website. And so I also know that if you have a website and you do the door hangers, they might call you, but before they do, they'll go check out your website. And so this is why a store. Go ahead.
Do you recommend? Oh, sorry to cut you off. Do you recommend using your like if I'm under 200K? Do you recommend for sure going with the? Well, honestly, I think I might be. Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you recommend going to your website, like doing your? Because I know you make I mean, you have a company where you guys make websites for $500 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, like lawn care web design and home service web design are awesome. Like I just see consistently the amount of leads that someone gets before and after. So like, I don't want to downplay that. I would also say the only people we recommend use it is if they're trying to expand past 200,000. It's literally the number. I'm not making it up because of you. That is the number I tell people, and the team will tell you if you talk to them, is like if you're doing under 200,000 and that's like where you want to stay, I would just recommend optimizing your Google listing, doing upselling your customers. So like I would rather you be sending out text blasts and emails to your customers and upselling them. You're going to get better return than spending $500 a month. That being said, if you're going to spend a single dollar on marketing, I'd rather the website be done first because it'll double or triple the impact of your marketing spend. And so unless you're trying to do over 200,000, like at least 350, 400 next year. And I think that happens by having the website because you just get way more leads. And so I don't want to sell you on it. Like, look at what you got there, like on our site, our work page. But like, I just know like when we, on average, almost double within 12 months the amount of leads a company will get. And so like, if you doubled the amount of leads and you just took that cost of, let's call it $500 a month, and you were getting an extra 15, 20 leads, all of a sudden it becomes like, if you were getting leads for 15 or 20 bucks, you just do it. But we don't, because it's easier to be able to go to Google or Facebook and like, I'll give you 100, I'll give you 150. And it's insane how much we're spending on leads, but then we won't spend the money on the website. And so I would only do it if you're going to grow and expand. So like next year, what's your kind of target? Or like, are you trying to grow the business, or like is 200,000 kind of where you want to stay?
Dude, 100%, man. Next year, like I want to go all in. Like I'm definitely want to go at least, my goal is to, if I can, and this is probably me limiting my beliefs, but like I want to go to the $1 million at least.
Yeah, like
eventually down the line.
Yeah,
so, 5.
Yeah, so like I would say, sorry, I did catch you. I apologize. Sorry, I got to keep the queue open though. What I would say is, if you did door hangers and you were spending $500 on door hangers, sorry, here we go. I got you back on. Sorry for cutting you off. What I was going to say though is, if you're going to spend $500 on door hangers, and that's probably going to cover, let's just call it 3 to 4 days worth of labor plus the printing of the door hangers. And so if you did that, you would probably get, if you did really good, you'd probably get 10 to 15 leads. I happen to believe if you spent that money on a website, you would get more than 10 to 15 leads a month, and it is now passive. The part about doing door hangers, you do need to still manage that person out doing door hangers, or you're doing it yourself.
Okay. I mean, honestly, man, if I'm making more than 500 a month, and I'm using you guys, like I don't mind it. I just definitely I'm thinking more further down the line, because I definitely want to get past the this year. If it's possible, I want to get past the 250 or the 300. And right now, I just want to progressively get better, man. I don't want to. I'm tired of staying so low, I guess I would say.
Yeah. So I just say your best marketing dollars is going to be that website. There's a reason why people, retail stores have a showcase of their products, and that's what your website is. It's a place for people to validate everything that you've told them on that door hanger, everything you've told them on your truck, on your marketing, everywhere else. And so I highly recommend it. Obviously, I'm talking in my own book here. We have lawn care web design. We have home service web design. Go onto the site. You can go under our work and see the type of stuff we build. But I just know what the businesses do, and know what, like, the churn on lawn care web design and home service web design is so low because the amount of leads that they actually generate. And we track that all the time. But I am talking my own book. Next caller is coming from 417. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
This is Shannon.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, great. Wow, I watch a lot of your stuff. All right, got a question for you. I know you use gas mowers. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about using the Greenworks commercial series?
Yeah, like the bottom line is, switching from gas to electric is simply a fuel source. There are some benefits in terms of the efficiency, you save money on fuel, etc. Right now, I don't see a lot of sense for it in terms of making me more money. I can't charge the customer. Most customers are not willing to pay more for it unless they're municipal or commercial, and we don't service a lot of those customers. Or if they have restrictions around that, then they require it. But I do not yet see the benefit of switching enough for me to be able to go through the pain of the initial cost. I talked to a company recently that does the batteries, and I said, look, The way you guys market this, the positioning of the battery space is really brutal. The reason is because as an operator, the only thing I care about is making more money and saving more money. And if you don't answer that question very simply for me as to whether or not I save money or make more money, then I'm not going to buy. And so batteries, in my opinion, will not make you more money. It does save you money though. And so one thing that I recommend to like any battery manufacturer is like every time you pitch the fact that your trimmer costs $600 versus the similar thing for $250 or $300 that's gas powered, you should just put right next to it how many hours of operation it requires for you to break even on this investment. Because it costs more for the batteries, but it also, you save money every single moment that you're driving the thing instead of paying for fuel and using it. So like, if I know that after 300 hours, I break even on the initial investment expense and additional cost incurred by buying batteries, I might start making a decision. But a lot of these manufacturers are still hung up, in my opinion, on like our performance is like this much better and we get so much more volume per blah, blah, blah. It's like, great. I just want to know how long do I need to use this thing before I actually save more money than what I spend on the initial upfront cost. But what was your kind of question behind the question? Are you thinking about doing the battery?
So these mowers. So we invested into this company just as an electric mowing company. Mm-hmm. And so specifically what we're looking to do, and we're trying to figure out a couple things here, is that these mowers are not the Walmart ones to go buy. You don't go buy an 80-volt battery and pop it in. No, these mowers are measured in kilowatts.
Right.
So they are they're GPS driven, they're Bluetooth, and they have Wi-Fi connection and LTE, so they're connected to cellular. They're the high-end mowers. And for the guys who are listening who don't know, the cheapest mower is $13,000. It goes all the way up to $27,000. Mm-hmm. So for the big one, it's like 60 inches. But the point of the story is, in your opinion, does it, obviously you measure cost dollars, and there is maintenance issues that you have with gas that you don't have with electric. For example, when you run mowers on hill, gas mowers, the oil runs off to the side of the mower. And I mean, in the platform, you can actually blow the mower longer versus like electric, where the power is always there, so long as it doesn't run out. You could say that, have that argument, but there's no real maintenance on it. So you don't have to worry about the same stuff. You don't have belts. You don't have all that maintenance. All it is the charge. And a lot of these come up to, like the big one goes up to 24 acres on a single charge. I don't know if you've seen these big ones. So the question comes in is there really a marketing advantage? Let's just say the mowers run exactly the same and you kind of price out. Is there a marketing advantage to electric when it comes to like HOAs and government work where you need to be more quiet, like school systems? A lot of school systems can't mow during school time hours because of the fact that the kids are in school, so you have to mow them after hours. Is there an advantage, and can you see an advantage into investing in just electric mowers for different types of applications?
Have you already purchased the electric mowers?
Yes.
Yeah, so like at this point, we're confirming our decision, right? So I would say if you've already purchased them, I would lean into it. I would try to market this to HOAs, commercial, municipal. I know from doing a lot of these bids, they are usually not willing to pay $1 more. So unless you can make sense of it on an operational perspective from the savings, they don't care. Like, yes, there'll be one out of 10 that are like, we only allow electric. As soon as they do that, they just became super price elastic because so many people don't have electric. So it's very, very uncommon for them to be like, we are willing to pay 25, 30, 40% more for someone that only uses electric. I would also say that there is still a significant amount of sound caused from these machines in terms of like the mowers, because the blades are turning. Like blowers, for example, I see a lot of benefit in terms of sound. Like when we video around electric equipment, for example, versus gas-powered equipment, we can have an interview and they're walking right next to us. Whereas a gas, it just blows everyone's eardrums out. And so I would lean this into marketing. You can definitely use this, like basically, hey, zero emissions, et cetera, et cetera. The customer's not willing to pay any more. And so you're basically making a value prop. You're not making a price competitive. And so there's a really good book called Simplify. And I forget the name of the author, but like this would be a version of, you are not simplifying from a price perspective. You are from a value perspective. So I think you could definitely market this. And you're going to create a differentiation between you and competitors. That's great. Customers aren't willing to pay for it. They just aren't. And so they want their grass shorter, they want their bushes trimmed, and when they get two estimates, they're going to compare based on price. Now, are there going to be the municipalities or the HOAs, et cetera, that might say, hey, we only allow electric? Yes, but they aren't willing to pay any more for it. So it still will come down to, does it make sense financially? So if you've been able to make sense of it financially over the course of a period of time, then great. But I do think you can differentiate. Like I would, if I already had bought the equipment, I would definitely use it in my marketing. I would really make a big deal of it. I would show the benefits. I'd show how much fuel is burnt on their lawn every week when another contractor comes versus ours. I would really lean into it simply because it's a differentiator. You just want to know your USP, your unique selling proposition. For some people, it's because they're young. For some people, it's because they answer their phone 24/7. For some people, it's because they have a great looking website. For some people, it's because they showed up in a decaled truck. For some people, it's because all their employees speak English. Like figure out your USP. And if for you, that is you have battery operated equipment only, that's definitely something I would lean into. Next caller is coming in from 405. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Mike, it's Jake. My name's Jacob. I'm coming to the Blue Collar Sober. Super excited to see you there.
Let's go.
My question for today is how to get that first employee. So I'm hitting that 10K a month mark in my mobile auto detailing business.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what's the best way to get that first employee and then start like part-time and then start moving into full-time, and how to do that and get ready for the spring rush.
Yeah. So like if you can have a backlog of work ready to go, and I would say, for example, like as you go into spring rush, like, okay, March 1st, I'm going to hire someone. They're going to probably start like March 15th. I'm going to have to train them for a week or two. But starting April 1st, I'm going to schedule my jobs as if I have that full-time person. Now, this is a little bit risky in case they don't work out, but this is also a matter of like how you make sure you're actually profitable very quickly once you get a new employee. Because like you're basically almost doubling your production. So if you don't have enough lead flow, that's like the first thing you're looking at. It sounds like to me you have that lead flow, especially during spring rush, you can step into that full-time employee. And so is your question more revolving around when to do it, or is it more about how to find, like from a ad perspective, getting employees?
It's a little bit of both. Since this is my first employee, I don't know where to find this person at and what to do there and when to get them.
Yeah, so a good hack on this one that you obviously can use Indeed. It's a little more pricey, but it's definitely like the go-to right now. You can also just do a Facebook post on your Facebook page and basically make it a job post. Right. So back in the day, Facebook actually had job postings. Now they don't. But just make the post into a job listing. Your description, your compensation, blah, blah, blah. And just have a link to your website for them to fill out a form, or you can just do a Google form for all I care, for them to apply. And so this works great because then what you can do is boost the post and do it to the like 4, 5, 10 mile radius around your shop, and do it to only your demographic you want. For example, 20 to 40-year-old males. You can just target only those people around your shop. This works really good. Like if you boost that post, I'm not a huge fan of boosting posts in general, but this works. I would do that, and then I would do Indeed in terms of finding them. And then in terms of making sure that once they come on, I'd be like, how do I create systems to be able to take the 4 or 5 services that are most common, simplify them, standardize them, have a system for training, and then I'd be hiring someone 2 weeks later. They start, and 2 weeks after that, I have a full-time schedule booked out as if they're going to be working with me full-time. And I would assume they're only going to be about 75% efficient because they're not going to be you. And I would assume that in terms of how many hours you put on their schedule.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You got it, man. Merry Christmas. You go. Have a good one. The next caller is coming in from 781. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Mike. I'm a big fan of yours. I've been listening to you since you started. I've been having some problems on the part of dealing with employees.
Okay.
We're just about to close the deal, the season at around 700, and just my problem now is just how to understand employees and how to deal with them, because I'm very target focused, and that causes a lot of rift between me and the employees because I'm the bottleneck of the company.
Yep.
So you have so many employees, I'm sure. How do you deal with so many people, and how do you go about that?
Yeah. So first off, I would ask is, do you have pay for performance for your crew out in the field yet or not?
No, we don't use pay for performance. We do everything by the hour. But this season, I'm looking to integrate the pay for performance since we use Copilot with you. Mm-hmm. So,
like, I would Like,
I'm
I know everyone thinks I have like this one track mind around pay for performance, but I know it did for my business because I was in your exact shoes 7-8 years ago, running an unprofitable business, but more importantly, working 80 hours a week because I was constantly running after my crew, and I was tired of tracking their trucks, them showing up late, them doing a poor job on customers' property, and I had no money. And so P4P was born out of complete frustration around what you're feeling right now. And I just know that if this one thing was changed in your business in the next 12 months, it would completely change the way you feel about your team. Because what you said in terms of how do I manage them, and you feel like you have your target focused and they're not, it's because they're incentivized to work longer. You're incentivized that they work shorter on the jobs because you make more money per job. And so by aligning the incentive of the crew, they become target focused. Like if you want to see them also get that same hunger of making more money, give them the incentive, which is the harder you work, the more money you make. Instead of the longer you work, the more money you make. And so like as much as I could talk
this year,
go ahead.
This year, in payroll, I did just under 300,000, and I believe that everybody's getting a pretty good chunk of change. There's 4 of us, 5 with me. So 300,000 between 4 guys, I think in my opinion, is a good chunk of change, but I feel like that's like, I'm just having problems. Like they're like, oh, you're pretty much riding us through it. And I've been that's where I'm stuck in it. And like, I'm trying to, maybe I was gonna go through the pay for performance and see where we can do better. And I'm at my wit's ends right now,
I get it. No, man, I have been exactly where you're at. I know exactly the pain. And so like the only thing I can say is if you're at the point of at your wit's end, you just have to determine that changing to P4P will be extremely painful. It's going to require you to change the way you estimate. It's going to have to change the way you communicate with your team, etc. But it is so worth it. You will no longer have to micromanage people. And the reason that they feel like you're riding on them is because your incentives are not aligned. You want them to work faster so you make more money. They want the job to take longer so that they make more money. So like even if you pay them enough, let's just say right now you're paying them great wages, they're still going to always feel that way. And it'll always require you to be on their tail, be tracking their trucks, be checking on their jobs all the time because their incentives are not aligned. Even if you make the same amount of money on P4P versus hourly, if their incentives are not aligned with getting the job done faster and doing it at a high quality standard, that will not happen. Because we are incentivizing them right to work longer on the jobs. So you telling them to do otherwise, i.e. work faster, is just constant collision. And so like it will be painful to make sure everything's on budget hours. It will be painful to train your team on what P4P is. This is what will happen, in my opinion. You will probably launch this to the team. You will lose 1 to 2 employees. The amount of efficiencies gained from the other crew members will be able to get all of the work done, and you'll still pay out that $300,000 in wages, but you'll do it with 1 or 2 less employees out in the field. And that money that they otherwise would have made will go to the team members that are now working harder. And they will be able to make even more money by working faster and harder. But more importantly, it'll unlock you and your time to be able to focus on growing the business, on the sales, on the strategy, etc. At your size, that's what you should be starting to focus on. You'll only be able to do that though, because now they're going to be self-regulated out in the field. They will want the customer to be happy before they leave. Because if they don't, they get a yellow slip. They will want to get out of the shop within 5 or 10 minutes because they want to make more money. They will tell you when someone's sleeping for 2 hours in the truck because it impacts their paycheck. And so as much as I've been screaming in the wilderness about P4P for years now, it's very difficult to implement for most people. But if you can get through that pain, the promised land is like 100% worth it. And people always wonder, like, how do you do multiple locations? And like, I don't show up to my locations. I haven't been to my locations for months. One of my locations, I've never even showed up to the shop. But the reason I know that it works is because the crew, when they show up every morning, makes more money if they act in the best interest of the business. And so by them doing that, I can pay them substantially more. When you can give someone $1,000 bonus on a paycheck above what their base pay is, they're gonna operate within that system. And so I would do whatever it takes. Like, this is the slow season. Like, I would be watching P4P University and like watching the videos, like figure out how you can switch, because it will be painful. I know that. You got to structurally change the way the business is operated, but it will completely revolutionize like your relationship with them and the business.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, that's where I'm going to start looking into your pay for performance and start going in there, and start listening to all of that. Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Hey.
MikeAndes.com/P4P, everyone. It's a free course. You can also get a free month of the software, but like even if you don't use the software, it's completely free for the training. And then if you go on to p4psoftware.com, you can book a call with Lael and the support team. And like, as you're setting up your system and like, you're going to hit bumps. Like, what about the budget hours for this? What happens if, there's a crew leader? What happens if someone doesn't have a driver's license? How do I adjust their base pay? All these little things is why we don't switch to P4P. I know, because I didn't do it for years because of all the little reasons as to why I couldn't do it. What about blade sharpening? What about shop maintenance? What about if there's a really experienced person with someone that's not experienced? These things have been figured out, and it will be difficult for you to change. I can promise you that. But it'll also unlock like this. Oh, man, if I could just, I'd do anything to be able to convince people that like it will change your business. And so, yeah, please check it out, and I think it'll help. Next question is coming from 978. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So my name is Hector. I own a company in Massachusetts, Alvarez Landscaping. And I have a couple questions. Last year we made $550, and me and my wife are going over. I was telling her, because I've been listening to you, watching you, and I was telling her it's time for us to up on the price, And my wife is scared that we're going to lose so much clients over that, and so we're afraid. We're both afraid that we're going to lose clients over upping the price. And I was telling her, because I've been watching your videos and I'm doing all that. 2023, we made about 400. Okay. 2024, we're 550. So I'm assuming 2025, we should be in the 600 to 700 range. So my question to you is, when should I know, I don't even know how to ask the question. When should I not be scared to up the price on my customers?
Yeah, so there's two things I'm looking for. Number one, if you watch the content, you know when to raise prices, and that's when you hit capacity. So right now, could you do $700,000 without buying more trucks and equipment?
Yes, we have enough. We have 4 trucks, brand new trucks, 2023 and up. We got trailers. We got over 9 pieces of machines. We have more than enough guys and new equipment to take care on the rush.
Okay. Next question is, from a cash perspective, are things tight right now, or is it decent enough?
It's good. Last year we made 180 profit out of the 550. So you tell me, is that good or not?
Like cash on hand, like, is there enough in the bank right now where like you're just fine getting through the off season? Your wife is comfortable with that amount in the money in the bank, like, just from a cash on hand perspective, not profit, cash on hand.
Okay. Cash on hand, no, because we put everything back in the business.
Got it.
So I told my wife we're back investing. So all the money we got, we bought new trucks, new trailers, new everything. Because I bought the old trucks when I first started off, and they started breaking down, and I wasn't being able to service my customers. And like in the snow contract, we have like commercial buildings right now for snow that they pay monthly for our services, that we need to be there no matter what. And I couldn't afford having trucks breaking down.
Yeah. So there's 2 ways to tackle
cash in hand.
That one's tough. Okay. Yep. So there's 2 ways to do this. One is extremely conservative, and you're going to make a bunch of money. The second one is going to be aggressive. You're not going to make as much profit, but you're going to grow the business. So let's start with the aggressive one. The aggressive one is that you're going to grow to 700 plus in revenue. You're going to get to capacity, because you always raise prices at capacity. When you have as so many leads coming in, your trucks are full, you have all your equipment's being used 5 days a week, like, we're hustling. At that point, you raise prices, because if you actually need customers to leave in order for you to replace them with new customers that are coming in from new leads. So the ultra growth fast, like, let's go to the moon situation is next year you're all gas, no brakes, keep growing this thing. The reason I give you license to do that is because you already have the fixed expenses. You already have the trucks, you already have the equipment, and you just need the work to get to 700,000, 750,000, etc. The more conservative route here from a cash flow perspective and from a profitability perspective is that you actually sell one or two of the trucks. You get down to capacity so that your 3 trucks now are being used all of the time, and you can only grow to about $600,000 in revenue. Now you're going to hit capacity sooner, and by hitting capacity sooner, you can raise prices then. Now that will make you much more money profit-wise. So if you're really, really cash strapped, I would actually recommend that. And especially if your wife is very, very concerned about this, this is actually the move. Right now, you have probably $300,000 plus an excess capacity, meaning you could probably do $800,000 in revenue without buying more trucks and equipment. Now, that makes me scared because it does tell me that if you raise prices and you lose customers, we even have more excess capacity. And so I always am trying to hit capacity and then raise prices. And so these are the 2 routes. I go ultra fast. I grow as much as possible because I need to grow to capacity. I'm not going to have a lot of profit next year because you're in growth mode still. And then the other option is you literally let go of one of your trucks. You get to where your capacity is around 600,000. You raise prices in next spring rush because you have so many leads coming in and you only have the 3 trucks. And that's going to be a much more profitable route because you'll raise your prices by 15% and immediately draw $80,000 to the bottom line.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That helped me a lot. I really appreciate you. You're great. You're amazing. All helping us out. I'm signing up for the summit right now.
Heyo, we'll see you there, brother. Best of luck to you. I can't wait to see you and your wife. You have a good one.